We're in the times where technology and AI and all these things are floating around, and we're still doing manual data entry. Hello, and welcome back to Cass Loves Tech. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am so happy to have you. If you are one of my lowest subscribers, welcome back. I'm so happy to see you again. Or if you are new to this series, hi, I am so happy that you have joined us. If you haven't already checked out the first video in this series, please go ahead and check it out. I've gone ahead and linked it above, and that video just covers my favorite 5 hacks when it comes to making life easier, even if it's just a little bit. In today's video, though, we're going to be focusing on some common mistakes that happen that had you feeling like your case management system your law firm is using is feeling like a second job. I've been there, done that. So if you're using Clio, MyCase, or Lawcus, or some other case management system, and it feels like a second job, you're probably making one of these 3 common mistakes. We've all made them. We make mistakes every day, but I'm here to show you what they are and how to fix them fast. Okay, so we'll jump right in with mistake number 1, not using a task automation. I'm here to tell you guys that task automation is really a game changer. It's a surefire way to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, even if your firm is not the most technologically advanced and they're not putting certain things in place. You can be that person for them. By setting up task automations, you're making it so that you're staying on top of whatever you need to do based on certain milestones, based on certain events that are happening within the company, based on a lead reaching out. The possibilities are literally endless. I touched on this in the first video that I covered, so I'm actually not going to go over task automation again in this one, but I'm just here to tell you that it is a common mistake that's made. Even if your firm is using a case management system like Clio, Clio Manage actually has task templates that you could utilize and take advantage of that would really help when it comes to setting yourself up for success, putting in some checklists, identifying some due dates, and really just making sure that you're not leaving any stone unturned or anything possibly slipping through the cracks. I strongly urge you, if you have not already, to watch the first video because some of these tips are actually discussed in detail and walked through in that video. The next mistake, overcomplicating document management. I have been a part of this myself, so I can't even tell you that it's something that doesn't happen or I'm above it, because I'm not. There were times where I would have the extra time and I would just start figuring out different naming conventions and just making it really complicated for no apparent reason. Let's not do that. Let's really set ourselves up for success and just really ensure that we are keeping things simple, because things that are simple are always going to be easy for you to find. They're always going to be quick to retrieve. You can pass that information on to a new person that comes to work with you. If something happens and you have to leave abruptly, someone else could take over without it being too complicated or confusing. So let's go ahead and honestly simplify the document management process. I wouldn't be me if I didn't show you something though. So this is going to actually be the time where I show you something. And I am going to show you a system that allows you to actually set up folders immediately when a lead is converted to a matter. It's actually not too difficult to find it. All you need to do is go into your settings, and then you want to make sure that you go to firm settings. From firm settings, you're going to want to go to practice area defaults. Within practice area defaults, you'll notice that every single practice area that you click on, there is a set of folders that you can create. For this example, I'm just going to pick the one that we're on right now, and then I'm going to hit add folder, and you can literally add whatever folder you want. So these settings will be saved as default, and you can also put whichever members you want to be associated with this as well. And I might not have said this before, but one really important thing to note that I always like to say in these videos is that this is all going to depend on the settings that you have or that your firm has given you permission and access to while working with them, because not every user within the firm will have the rights and the access to be able to do some of these things. So if you get into firm settings and you don't see this, it's not because the system doesn't have it. It's probably because you don't have the access to it, especially if it's Lawcus. Now, if it's another case management system and you would like to see if your system actually has this, definitely please feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section and we could probably have a conversation offline. Or if you haven't already, please definitely check out the subscription where we cover these examples in depth during office hours and Q&A sessions as well. So I would love to kind of have an idea as to what are some of the things that you're noticing within your case management system where this is concerned. But Lawcus does have that easy breezy way of just being able to set that up immediately. And you actually get to see that whenever a new matter is created within either the Google Doc or the Dropbox or box.com, whatever electronic cloud-based document management system you use that the firm uses to manage the documents is the system that, depending on the case management system, it will pair to. Some case management systems have their own document set up internally as a part of it. For example, Clio. They have that already internally, so that setup is going to be slightly different. But whatever the firm uses to house its documents for clients is what you would essentially see if you could connect it to a system like Lawcus or maybe something else. And actually, before I move into the third common mistake that people often make, I want to show you another system that you can potentially take advantage of when it comes to document management. So for those of you that use Clio Manage, I'm sure you're familiar that Clio Manage has its own document database that you're able to use within the firm to store different types of documents. What you may not know is that within documents, they do have a feature where you can actually create categories. And if you go to categories and templates, and then you go to categories, there's a series of categories that are already here. Agreements, answers, briefs, closings, you name it, they're here. But you can also add your own. You can create your own and add it. And then whenever you're adding a document in, you're able to modify the document to be able to be a part of that specific category, which will help when it comes to trying to find things easier because you can always go and search at the top within the search bar if you see it hovered here, and you can type in agreement and then you'd be able to see some of those options come up. So it does make life a little bit easier when you're trying to find those documents later on if you set everything up on the front end to be able to help yourself out later on and help your firm out later on when it comes to retrieving those documents at a moment's notice. All right, so now I'm going to take us into the third common mistake that people make when they're using their case management system within the law firm. And it's honestly wasting time on manual data entry. I know, right? Exactly. We're in the times where technology and AI and all these things are floating around and we're still doing manual data entry. How do you fix this though? Easy. Start using your contact forms within your case management system. If you're starting to use your contact forms, then it does make life easier for you when it comes to being able to have all that information directly inside of the case management system and associated with a specific case or matter right away. And this one isn't actually too bad because every case management system has some sort of form fill automation, some sort of way where once the data is entered on the form, it then populates into the system. Lawcus has it, MyCase has it, Clio definitely has it, and the list goes on and on. It's just going to depend on what you're trying to do with that data next. Really is just going to depend on how more advanced you want to go with that, but each one of them has it. For today's example, I'm going to actually focus on doing this inside of MyCase because MyCase is actually the one system I didn't really get to spend too much time in other than showing you the case reports in the previous video as a part of this series. So I'm going to spend some time going over MyCase, the fill form feature, and how that populates into the client's case details to avoid the repetitive work of asking for different information or trying to locate different information and get access to it relatively quickly. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, so here we are inside of MyCase, and I am actually going to take us back to the top for this example so that we are in the right space. So from the home, one of the first things that you can do is double check to see if your firm is currently using the intake forms that are accompanied with MyCase. To do this, go ahead and hop over to settings, and then once you're in all settings, you're going to go to intake forms, And this is where you'll actually be able to see the information that you need to see if they're using it or not. They have client intake forms for active matters, and then you also have online lead forms that you can utilize as well. So whether it's someone who is new to the firm as a lead, or whether it's an active client, whatever your specific instance is, that's totally fine. You're just going to want to make sure that you're using either one of them to kind of help you out when it comes to ensuring that you're setting yourself up for success and you're working a little bit smarter and not as hard as you probably are right now. And so to just go into this one, because it's already here, you'll notice that a lot of the fields are already coming up, and then you can actually map different things. So for example, if there was something that, like here, this is asking to please describe the case. So for example, if there was something that closely related to that, you can definitely put that in as a part of this. And right here, we have victim representation description. For this example, I'm just going to click on it because it just makes life easier, and the two are linked together. Now, this is going to go into something a little bit more complex, so I'm not going to really focus on it too much, but logic conditioning can come into play too. And that's where, if you want to use logic conditioning, then you're saying that if this is true, do this, but if that is true, do that instead. And it's giving the person options, but it really just creates a simplicity to it so that you're not doing one of those questions where if you answered yes to this question, please also answer this one. It cuts that out entirely. But for today's example, this information that they fill out is also going to show up inside of the client's matter as well. So you have that information easily accessible to you to do whatever you need to do with it. If you need to draft a pleading, if you need to identify information to be able to fill out a form or submit an application or whatever the case is, you can use the information from this client intake form to be able to do that. And to top it all off, one of the things that you can do is you can fill it out internally and have the client on the phone if that's the process within your firm, or you honestly have the option of sending the intake form to the client to have them fill it out themselves, so that way they're putting in their sensitive information. And honestly, it's easier for them to do it on their end. And then once you have that information, then you can continue to move on with it. This is so much easier than using a regular old PDF. Don't use the PDF. Let's move things into a more easier and streamlined way and use an intake form that's electronic, that literally allows the information to be saved and stored within the case management system. So everyone within the firm can also have access to it and see it relatively quickly as well. All right. So those are my top 3 common mistakes that people often make whenever they're working with an attorney or other members within a law firm. And I hope you were able to find that helpful. I know I glazed over some of the different things that I showed in the walkthrough video, and that's honestly because I have a tendency to make these videos very long sometimes because I love talking about some of these components, and I don't want someone watching this video who is just getting started with technology or just trying to figure out how to better help their firm to get lost or feel overwhelmed. But if there's something specific that you would like to see, please definitely leave a comment and I will do my best to respond to it, or send me an email. Or if you're interested, now's the time to go ahead and click the link in the description to join the Cass Loves Tech Insider subscription, where you'll just be able to have access to office hours to communicate with me and other members in the community to really just delve into the different areas where you struggle and require assistance the most. These videos are more broad, but inside of the community, you get more in-depth access, and you'll have access to other community members who are also trying to figure it out with this technology thing too. Technology is ever changing, so something that might be here today is probably gone tomorrow. Something that is not really used that much today is used heavily tomorrow. So I would love to continue to be a resource to you, and please feel free to, even if it's as simple as send me a message, you're more than welcome to do that. All right, so that concludes everything I wanted to show you in this video. Until the next video, continue thriving with your systems and have an amazing day. Bye.